We are once again on the road to Backlash 2002. Sadly, today we have to start the show off with a lot of sad news. Some of it that went down yesterday. Uh, I forgot where it was. Was it Puerto Rico or somewhere where?
Maybe probably Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Dominican Republic. There was a concert going on and like the whole building freaking collapsed. And one of the people in that building
Yeah,
was former Met 1999 Met Octavio Dotel, and
now,
sadly he did not make it. They were able to rescue him. I believe he was still alive
yeah,
when they rescued him. That's why there was so much confusion at the time. People were like, "Oh no!" People were reporting that he was dead, and everybody's like, "No, he's still alive. They got him out, and he was alive." But sadly, he passed away not too long after that. This is the second 1999 Met to pass away this year. Back in, I believe, January. It was either January or February. We lost the great Ricky Henderson.
yeah.
So as somebody who grew up on like the 99 and 2000 Mets, it's sad to see that we now have a second
Di-
member of the 99 Mets. I'll let you talk for
Yep.
but real quick. Another ball player, Tony Blanco, which I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know much about him. I think he played for the Nationals in like 2005, their first year in Washington, but he passed away as well in that same situation. And I think one of the performers, Ruby Perez, who I think is like a legendary singer in Dominican Republic, he passed away as well. Uh, Outside of the famous people, the whole total at this moment of deaths there is like 113. So, rest
Yeah.
in peace to everybody involved there. Thoughts and prayers to all the victims' families. And, again, as a kid who grew up on the 99 Mets, as well as, all the 2000 team as well, it is really sad to see we have now lost just this year alone two players on that 99 team. Octavio Dotel got the win in the infamous Robin Ventura Grand Slam single game. And he also, while he was not on the 2000 team, he had a huge impact because he was in the trade that brought Mike Hampton to New York. Mike Hampton, obviously, a huge part of getting the Mets to the World Series that year. So again, rest in peace to Octavio Dotel. Rest in peace to all 113 victims of that tragedy. Uh, Tro, I know you want to talk about another death that has
Yeah.
happened recently. I am choosing, because of something I know about this person, I'm choosing to sit this one out. You go ahead and give your thoughts on this one.
Well, first on Octavio,
Yeah.
I felt like the man's been on every team because I felt like every time I refreshed Twitter, it was like some other team was like ripped Octavio, and it was like a picture of him in their team uniform. Like, this man has traveled around made his
He
rounds around the league, hasn't he?
he had the record for 15 teams. That was like the
Wow.
most teams before it was broken by Edwin Jackson. I think Edwin Jackson played on like 16 teams. But go ahead, say what else you need to say.
So on Monday we lost internet wrestling legend Kevin Castle. Um, the man loved his cats. He was a good humanitarian. He he didn't take care of himself. I believe is what he was stubborn, but sometimes sometimes it's okay to be stubborn. Sometimes it's not. In this case, it wasn't. Kevin was a staple in the wrestling community online. He um, he'd been doing shows since I think '99 with Anthony DeBlasio, known as Tony. And it sucks because he was very opinionated, but he had been through the ringer. He'd seen so much in the pro wrestling community and outside the world. So he will be missed. He was a funny guy. He was entertaining. And my condolences, obviously, to the whole family of his.
I will say as well, condolences to the family. I will say that. That's all I'm gonna say about this. Any more to say about either of these two tragedies?
Kevin Castle, whenever a wrestler died, always said, tell the ones close to you that you love them, because tomorrow's not promised. And that's a very good thing to keep in mind, because life can change just like that. One minute you're here, the next minute you're 6 feet under. Yeah. And sometimes you just can't do jack shit.
Right. And
no matter what you do.
Yeah. We have a record-breaking comment for like time that we've gotten a comment. It's like the quickest we've ever gotten a comment. Brother BKL Contreras, aka Sports Entertainment Guy, says, shout out to everyone in the chat, including FCT ENT. Shout out to you, brother, or I'll say Sports Entertainment Guy. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from the South Bronx. And he just leaves the name. Shout out to Sports Entertainment Guy. Shout out to the Bronx. I'm from Queens. Tro here.
You're not from Queens, motherfucker. You're from Long Island.
I'm from Belrose, Queens.
You're from Long Island.
Tro is from Long Island.
You're from Long Island too, motherfucker.
I have no problem.
You are on the border. You're on the border.
I have no problems with Long Island, but I consider myself Belrose.
Which is Long Island, motherfucker. It's like Elmont. That's still Long Island.
Like I said, it's on the border, yeah, but it's still Belrose.
Well, actually, technically speaking, it's more Long Island than Elmont is. Because Elmont's the real border.
Yeah. So today's show is the April 4th, 2002 edition of Smackdown. Like I said, we are continuing the road to Backlash 2002.
Couldn't even remember the name. He picked out the show, folks, and can't even remember. That's how uninterested he is about this show.
I'm very interested about this show, man. I just watched it and I really enjoyed it. Sports Entertainment Guy says, ain't no matter where you live, at least. LOL. It ain't about where you're from, exactly. Again, we started this show off with some sad news, so I haven't been able to say what I always say at the beginning of these videos, so I now will. Tro, how you doing?
Oh, finally. How am I? I'm fine. Getting ready to leave for Las Vegas next week, and trying to coordinate a whole ass freaking LARP event on Saturday with rain chances. Totally not stressing. Losing sleep over this thing or anything.
That is why we never.
I'm going crazy.
That is why we never do shows on Saturday, because Tro dips on us to do his LARPing.
Yeah, I'm like the definition of what a person thinks a wrestling fan is. I LARP, I watch pro wrestling, and I live at home.
We do not, especially our own people, but we do not make fun of anybody.
Our own people.
Well, you are. It's FCT.
I know, but the way you said it, our own people, our kind.
But yeah, we do not make fun of people just because they have likes that may seem weird to people. But anyway,
we watch professional wrestling.
Yeah.
We're already kind of, you know how freaking stupid would it be for us to be like, oh, you do LARPing? Oh, now that's a step too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we watch fucking The Undertaker, a dead man, Kurt Angle, a Canadian, Kurt Angle, Edge, and the freaking what's it called? What's funny gimmick? Rico. There you
Yeah.
go.
Right.
We're watching Rico.
We got off to a pretty good start here. We had like 2 views now. At the moment, it says we got none, but we had 2 views pretty quickly. I
Yeah.
really believe that sometimes when some people see like the thumbnail and it's like a very memorable moment that they'll click on it. We've
Yeah.
experienced that
It's
before,
called
so
clickbaiting,
it is.
and it
Yeah,
works.
not doing
Sometimes
it on purpose.
you gotta work with the algorithm sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
The algorithm says that they want to see the thumbnail of something interesting. They'll click on it thinking that it's the WWE fault.
But we literally I make sure that it's not if you read the title of our videos, it always
People
says
don't read titles,
yeah,
frankly. That's the next evolution of YouTube. It's not going
yeah,
to have titles, just thumbnail.
thumbnail. So yeah, obviously there is a very memorable moment on this show, and it is the thumbnail. We will get to it pretty soon, but first, the April 4th, 2002 episode of Smackdown. We kicked the show off with Mr. McMahon sitting on a couch, and he says on last Monday night on Raw, Ric Flair erroneously named The Undertaker the number one contender for Triple H's undisputed title at Backlash. Erroneously, because that whoever won the coin toss for the draft not only had the number one overall pick, but they also won the right to name a number one contender for Backlash. And Mr. McMahon says that he will name the number one contender tonight. So, everything we talked about last week with the undisputed title presentation, where in the end, The Undertaker was announced as the number one contender for Backlash, he no longer is.
Nope.
How funny, though, would it have been if Mr. McMahon was just being petty as fuck, and in the end, he's just like, Undertaker is the guy I choose to be number one.
So with that said, I pick The Undertaker.
It would have been good heel work. I mean, he's a petty heel. Why not? Now we have Kurt Angle in ring to truly kick off the show. We are kicking the show off with a segment. That is how weekly shows should be kicking off, not with some random ass match. Anyway, Kurt Angle
Fuck
says
matches.
exactly for weekly shows.
Every pay-per-view should only have segments. Why bog it down? Why bog it down with matches?
Kurt Angle says that he's here to hold on. He's out here to publicly state he's willing to face Triple H at Backlash. So obviously, Kurt Angle thinking, he's Mr. McMahon's boy. He was the number 2 overall pick. It should have been Mr. McMahon's number 1 overall pick. He should have been the number 1 overall pick, but Mr. McMahon took him second. So maybe that should show Angle already that maybe
Look,
maybe
his 40-yard dash was dog shit compared to the Rock's.
Compared to Rock, yeah. Well, Rock was a football player, and I'm pretty sure he actually did really run a 40-yard dash. So he says he's willing to face Triple H at Backlash. He says he doesn't need to list the reasons as to why he deserves a shot. But since the fans continue to disrespect him, they were chanting "You suck" as he came out. He says he'll do it anyway. He says, reason number 1, he owns Triple H. He has beat Triple H more than any WWE superstar has done. Sounds a lot like the same reasoning that Undertaker had last week as to why he should be number 1 contender. Reason number 2, he is an Olympic gold medalist. Reason number 3, he's adored and admired by children and senior citizens alike worldwide, especially the sick ones. He then tells the crowd to shut their mouths because he only has 26 more reasons to go. Just as he was about to say reason number 4, though, he's interrupted by Chris Jericho. That's not the guy he's feuding with, but it makes sense that Chris Jericho is the guy to interrupt him here because Chris Jericho is still in his feelings about losing at WrestleMania and never truly getting a one-on-one rematch. Tro, don't you think somebody deserves a one-on-one rematch after they lose the title?
I know that they had it. I know they had it in storyline for a while. That was in their contract clause. After they lose the title, they get a rematch.
There you go. But does the clause state one-on-one because he technically didn't get his rematch?
I mean, the way they always put it down was that it was the challenger for some reason got a chance to choose whatever type match they wanted.
There you go.
Which never made any sense, honestly. But
so Jericho essentially could just sue Mr. McMahon here. He is smacked. Yeah, well, obviously he's on this episode, so he can sue Mr. McMahon. He hasn't gotten his rematch.
That is true. Although, what if the contract said for both belts? It was like, you can only challenge when it's the 2 titles.
Right, there you go.
Or if Jericho only realizes that he has it in his contract after it becomes WWE, and Vince is like, it says WWF here. We're not. We're WWE. Loopholes.
Jericho says there's no way in hell that Angle deserves this shot. Nobody deserves the shot except him. Him being Jericho, obviously. He says that he was the first undisputed champion in the company's history.
No way.
The first.
I wonder if he's going to tell it to everybody for the next 25 years.
He's the first undisputed champion in WWE history, in the company's history, and he still hasn't gotten his one-on-one rematch. The only rematch he received was in his words, some stupid triple threat match with these are my words now, the extremely beautiful Stephanie McMahon.
Boo.
Okay, you're out. No Stephanie McMahon hate here. He's banned. But we still got a show to do, so yeah. With the extremely beautiful Stephanie McMahon that she lost. All because Triple H cheated, but okay, whatever. He says not only does he not get his rematch, but he's got to stare at these idiots, he's referring to the crowd, that think he's a has-been. That is when Jericho just yells, "I'm not a has-been." That was a horrible... Look, he's the one who does the impersonations. I'm not good at impersonations. I don't know
if I do a good Jericho.
I was just about to ask you, what would be your impersonation of Jericho's yelling,
I am not a has-been. Like, I can't. I don't know. Because Jericho has like a good Canadian accent.
Right.
Somewhat, and I can't. My only Canadian is this a. I am not the has-been a.
He says he's going to prove that he's not a has-been by getting his match at Backlash and winning the undisputed title. Angle says that as far as Jericho's request for a rematch, it already has been. See what he's doing there? Has been completed. Jericho says, well, the last time we faced each other, this supposed has-been beat your ass. And Jericho then proposes a number 1 contenders match with him and Kurt Angle, to which Kurt Angle agrees with. So that's the end of the segment, right? Number 1 contender, that's your main event.
Yeah.
That's when The Rock's music hits. Rock comes out, and he says that Angle and Jericho aren't the only viable names for this number one contender spot. He says there's one man who should face Triple H at Backlash. It's only one name. And essentially, he's getting to obviously saying that The Rock is said man. But while thinking, he takes a moment, and it seems like it felt like 5 minutes, but he just stands there like the wheels are turning. And after thinking about it, he says, let me see something. He says, maybe there is someone else. Again, he said there's one man. Now he's saying there is someone else. He says he knows that one day The Rock will get his shot and he'll whoop ass and he'll become the champ. But until then, maybe there's someone who deserves it more than The Rock. That's the guy The Rock beat at WrestleMania. So does he really deserve it more than The Rock? I kind of spoiled the result there, but I had to throw that in.
So it's going to be Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock beat The Rock. Not that.
The man who beat the only man who deserves it is the returning Ken Shamrock.
Rock. Let's see. Rock says they should give it to a legend. To which Taz is like, "Oh, Chris Jericho's a living legend." They say you should give it to an icon. And
Larry Zabrisco goes somewhere. Just says, "The fuck."
Taz says, "Well, Kurt Angle's an icon," and that's when Kurt Angle actually starts thanking The Rock before Rock tells him to shut his mouth. Rock's not talking about you. Rock says Hulk Hogan deserves the shot. Jericho says he thinks, and obviously we all know what Rock's reaction to that would be. It doesn't matter what you think. Angle then was about to give his 2 cents, and we all know what Rock's response was. It doesn't matter what you think. He says, this is a new Smackdown, and as of now, Smackdown will forever be known as the People's Show. So he says, we're going to let the people decide. Are they going to chant for Chris Jericho? Are they going to chant for Kurt Angle? Or are they going to chant for Hulk Hogan? Well, the crowd chants for Hulk Hogan.
Would have really backfired if they had chanted for Chris Jericho or Kurt.
Rock says, if Mr. McMahon is listening to if Mr. McMahon is listening, the fans are speaking. And as he said this on Raw, it did not get bleeped out on Raw because Raw was on cable. It gets bleeped out here because SmackDown is on UPN. He said was, money talks, bullshit walks. And that's how obviously The Rock does his whole if you smell stuff and all. That's how that segment ends. Thoughts on the opening segment here with Rock, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and also thoughts on how the show opened with Mr. McMahon.
Gee, I wonder if the Rock isn't going to be at Backlash if he's not putting himself forward. Gee willikers, I wonder.
That could have been Jericho's match too. Jericho
could have been. Sorry, Jericho, I have to film the Scorpion King too. They're gonna put me in CGI. It's gonna look horrible.
Maybe that's why Jericho did not have a match. But even Maven,
even Maven has a match.
But yeah, thoughts on the opening segment with Mr. how the show opened with Mr. McMahon and the opening segment.
I thought it was good. It was a good little segment here to open up the show, establish who the fans want versus who Vince McMahon's probably going to end up picking.
Right. And will that be somebody else?
Could it be Maven?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. We already just referenced the guy who's going to be.
Hey guys, here's what I was picked to face Triple H at Backlash.
Hey, don't be too upset about saying the wrong show for a second there, because Chris Jericho himself has a slip up later in this show where
I will
he
face
tries
you at Unforgiven 2001.
no, that's not what happened, but you'll see. We're gonna get to it real soon, where Chris Jericho slips up and says the wrong pay per view. But the McMahon Open, it was fine for what it was. It was just to set up the show where we're gonna announce a number one contender. It feels like something you do in the main event, but
Yeah.
they actually get this out of the way literally like very early on in the show. Um, the opening segment, I mean, Rock, Angle, Jericho, like it doesn't get any better than having an opening segment with those three. It was really fun. I loved when Angle's like, "Thank you, Rock." Rock's like, "Shut up! I wasn't talking about you." So great opening segment, and now we cut to earlier tonight, where Albert is getting ready for a tag title match with Billy and Chuck. So we are about to see Tro, Billy, Chuck, Rico, and Tro, baby. Uh, Albert's getting ready for the match tonight when Scotty 2 Hotty walks over and starts hyping him up. He says, "Do you realize how many superstars are trying to become number one contender for the undisputed title? And do you realize that we're number one contenders for the tag team titles?" I don't think that's the same, Scotty. I really don't. I'm sorry to tell you.
Damn.
But he then says if they go out and beat Billy and Chuck, they're the champs. And Albert says, "Well, we're ready." I'm ready. Excuse me. I'm ready. Decent little segment there earlier tonight. The earlier tonights are always great. They're goaded.
Is this hippo era
Yep.
of Albert?
Yep. Only
Oh
for
my god.
spoiler alert. Only for about 2 more minutes or so. But yeah, this is Billy and Chuck with Rico and Tro on the outside in their corner, taking on Albert and Scotty 2 Hotty for the tag team titles. They are defending the tag team titles against Albert and Scotty 2 Hotty. And in the end, Rico came into the ring at one point, did a spinning wheel kick to Scotty 2 Hotty. The ref obviously was not, paying attention. I think he was knocked out at this point. I'm not 100% sure. But Billy ends up getting the pin off that. After the match, Albert confronts Rico in the ring, and Rico is blindsided by Sky Tuati throwing him to the ground, which obviously sets up the worm. Scotty Tuati goes for the worm. Instead, he gets a big boot to the face. That big boot was not from Chuck. That big boot was not from Rico. That big boot was not from Tro. The big boot in question was from his tag team partner, Albert. Albert then just goes on the attack, puts a beating on Scotty 2 Hotty, and says, let me see, "You let me down, and you made me dance for 6 months." So the very memorable, I obviously do not mean that seriously, but they were an entertaining tag team, I'd say that, but they're not a memorable tag team. This was the end of Albert and Scotty 2 Hotty. Tro, you were there for this whole segment, obviously, because, Billy, Chuck, Rico, and Tro. So what are your thoughts on this tag match and the split up of, by the way, after Albert attacked Scotty 2 Hotty, he lit a table on fire and Boldo bombed, not
Well,
power bomb, he Boldo bombed Tro through the burning table.
well, actually, that last part didn't happen. I actually, because you were actually in attendance for this show, and he actually picked you up and put you through the flaming table this time.
Oh boy, yeah, those flames. But I no sold it. I just got right up and walked
Oh,
out.
of course. Everyone, have you ever tried no selling and getting hit by a truck? Oh boy, the truck really gets pissed off at you.
Anyway, thoughts on the tag
I thought
title?
it was fine.
Yeah. Oh, by
Bye
the way,
bye, bye bye, Albert. See ya, A Train.
no, he ain't gonna become A Train till the end of the year.
I know. I'm saying this is it for him. His career goes from Albert to A Train. later on.
Yeah, he was good as A-Train.
Well, he got a WrestleMania match with the Undertaker out of it. So
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was about to say.
yeah, because Nathan, it was a handicap match because Nathan Jones was dog shit, and they only realized that the day of the show.
Yeah, my favorite. Hey, I got your wallet. My favorite WrestleMania of all time. I cannot believe it is now 22 years ago. It's my fucking childhood. It's getting older and older. Every March 30th, I just cry a little inside.
Yeah. Well, you're getting old too, Frank. Don't forget, once you turn 40, you're done with the show.
But
I mean,
anyway,
we can't have these 40-year-olds clogging up the FCT and D ranks.
the
We need some young bloods.
the tag match I gave 1 star. It was a quick match. But the breakup afterwards, that was good. A great little moment there. Now, how's about a Mark Lloyd segment here? Thoughts on Mark Lloyd, your favorite backstage interviewer?
Well, everyone remembers Mark Lloyd. 10 out of 10. You know Marky Mark.
Yeah. So Mark Lloyd is waiting by Mr. McMahon's locker room. The door is obviously closed. It says Mr. McMahon on the door, obviously. They go to break. They come back with Mark Lloyd asking for a word from Mr. McMahon. In fact, when they come back from break, Mr. McMahon is literally like halfway out of the door and he's closing the door. And that is when Mark Lloyd, like a fucking paparazzi, just stops him and asks him for a word. Mr. McMahon asks Lloyd, who is he, and if he has ever worked for Ric Flair. Well, first he asks him, who is he? Yeah, I'm Mark Lloyd. And then that's when he asks if he's ever worked for Ric Flair. Mark Lloyd is a very smart guy. He says, no, I've never worked for Flair. And that is when Mr. McMahon welcomes him to SmackDown. Lloyd asks Mr. McMahon if he has decided about the number one contender spot. And Mr. McMahon says he has. And this is what we meant by this is something that you'd think they'd be building up throughout the night. Here we are already. We're literally just like one match happened before we actually, one segment and one match happened before we actually get to the announcement here. Mr. McMahon says he does not succumb to public pressure. He could give a damn what the public thinks. He didn't say the fans. The public thinks because he knows better than they do what they want. He doesn't care what The Rock wants. He says it's all about what he wants. So, at Backlash, Triple H will defend the undisputed title against Hulk Hogan. We immediately cut to Jericho's locker room. Chris Jericho is enraged about this announcement. He immediately leaves the locker room and immediately sees The Rock walking by. Jericho stops him and says, "You screwed me," by suggesting Hulk Hogan as the number one contender. He says Hogan never was. He says that Hogan couldn't even beat you at WrestleMania. This is about the time where I talk about Jericho kind of screws up a little bit here. He says, "I've even beat you. I had no problem beating you, Rock. I beat you at No Mercy just a few months ago.
Yeah.
I beat you at Judgment Day." What? Huh?
What?
He meant vengeance. Which it would have made so much more sense if he would have messed up and said Armageddon. Because that's obviously what the pay-per-view was supposed to be before 9/11 happened. Which, by the way, is kind of crazy that, like, if 9/11 never happened, one of the most popular brand extension pay-per-views, show-only pay-per-view, would have been, instead of Vengeance 03, it would have been Fully Loaded 03. Think about that. Fully Loaded was taken away in 01 because of the invasion, but did they have plans on bringing it back for 02?
I mean, they brought back a lot of names in WWE over the years, like usually for like NXT shows.
Right.
I don't think they've ever brought back Fully Loaded as like a
never have.
as a one night thing.
Yeah, but I think that Fully Loaded probably would have came back in 2002 if it wasn't for 9/11. Because now you bring in Vengeance, and obviously Vengeance is only in the place for the December pay-per-view, in the place for Armageddon, just for that year, because they did not feel that it would be right to call a show
Yeah.
Armageddon so close to, that horrible tragedy. And so obviously that now you have a new pay-per-view name, and there's a spot open for that pay-per-view because last year's July pay-per-view was Invasion. You're obviously not going to do another Invasion, so boom, Vengeance became the July pay-per-view.
Now, what was the whole gimmick of Fully Loaded though? Because I know one year they hit it in Vegas, it was like, oh, well, it's all gambling and stuff, and then it's like freaking motorcycles or cars or something.
Yeah, I don't think there really was a and maybe that's why
Like a
they
theme.
decided not to bring him back. Yeah, there wasn't really a theme to it.
Yeah, because Vengeance first whole thing was Sledgehammer's Triple H, even though Triple H wasn't on the show.
But the whole, the everybody wants to get vengeance on somebody that doesn't know.
Yeah, with the whole wasn't the poster just Triple H though?
Oh yeah, for 2001 it was, because I think he originally was supposed to return at Vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, the whole graphics
Literally,
system was just sledgehammers banging into metal.
we've mentioned SmackDown Shut Your Mouth a lot during our last two Road Twos, because there's actually stuff that takes place in the story mode that happens on it during our last two Road Twos. Well, Triple H's return happens on the story mode, but it doesn't happen on a Raw at the beginning of January. It happens at Vengeance. After you finish that December pay per view, after that ends, they run Triple H's return. Whoever the champ is from the Elimination Chamber match, Ric Flair tells him congratulations, but it's a new year, and here comes Triple H. And Triple H comes out, and I think he attacks the champ. So I think that was the original plan, was that Triple H was supposed to return at Vengeance. Not Judgment Day, as Chris Jericho called it here.
He's you know what, you know what Jericho found out that he was going to win the title?
Oh yeah, he Mr. McMahon just walks by him and is like, "Can you believe we're putting the belt on you?" or something like that.
He was in catering. He's talking to Undertaker. He says, Taker, you know how we know the company's going to shit. We're putting the title on Jericho tonight.
Yeah, Undertaker. So Undertaker says that, not McMahon.
No, the McMahon tells the Undertaker like within earshot of Jericho. It'll be like, "Oh, you're winning the title tonight."
Oh, did he know that Jericho was in earshot, or was?
Yeah, must have. Because Jericho assumed that. I think he assumed that.
He didn't think he was winning.
Yeah, either him, Rock or Austin.
Austin, maybe who can blame him for assuming that? I've read Austin. I mean, Austin.
No, you know what? It was Kurt. He thought Kurt was winning because Kurt would always tell people like the outcome the moment he found out. So apparently, like Kurt was telling everybody that he was going to win the title. And they called him Canary. They called him Canary Kurt because he'd always tell everybody.
Okay. I've read Jericho's book, so that's how I know the story, although I don't remember it as well as you do. It's been a long time since I've read that book. But you want to know a funny book moment where somebody thought somebody else was winning, and it involves a feud that is going on as we are on the road to this pay-per-view. Edge originally thought he was going to lose the hair versus hair match at Judgment Day. So do you know what he did?
What?
He was planning, or at least what he was planning to do. He was planning on going out and getting, I guess it was hats or helmets or something of every NHL team. So I guess Edge was just like how Angle had the, the amateur wrestling thing on his head. I guess Edge's thing was going to be, he was going to wear. I think he said helmets. which would have been, I guess, like a goalie helmet he would have been wearing for like every team. That would have been interesting if Edge actually did something like that.
Yeah.
So getting back to this backstage segment of Jericho and Rock, Jericho says, "I beat you at No Mercy. I beat you at Judgment Day." He meant Vengeance. And before Jericho could mention the third win, which was at Royal Rumble, Rock does the hand to the face to stop him. And he says, "Try and beat The Rock tonight." Jericho says, "He'll beat the People's Champ on the People's Show." Rock says, "Get ready." Uh, Good segment from Mr. McMahon where he says, "I don't succumb to public pressure," and then he literally picks the guy that the public wants. Funny heel thing there with Mr. McMahon, and then Jericho just obviously continuing to just absolutely go ballistic about the fact that he's no longer champ and he's never gotten his one-on-one rematch. Great little segment there. The whole thing with Rock, he's saying, "I'm going to beat the People's Champ on the People's Show," and Rock just looks at him and says, "Get ready." Great backstage segment there. What did you think of these two segments here?
McMahon saying that he doesn't know who the backstage announcer is probably legit. Like, who are you? I've never heard of you. I don't remember. I don't remember hiring you. You hired me last week, Vince. Oh, okay. What do you want?
Yeah,
Scoop of the century back here, by the way.
yeah.
See,
Well,
able to get Vince McMahon, get his answer right there.
yeah, absolutely. Now we have DDP taking on Christian. They run a video package, sort of recapping the feud that
You
DDP and
think you're
Christian.
special? Yeah, dude.
They recap that, although obviously leading all the way to WrestleMania, where DDP defeated Christian. By the way, Christian got the local competitor entrance in this one.
Jobber entrance.
Yeah, I don't like using that term. Uh, why Christian got that here was I don't know, but that was really weird. But anyway, they right before DDP's entrance, they run that video package. Christian ends up winning the match by suckering in DDP when he does his fake little temper tantrum. He then just turns around and hits DDP with the Unprettier. And that's it. Not much else to talk about this match. Another 1 star. There's actually a lot of 1 star matches on this show, but the show itself was really good because, again, weekly
Kill
shows are
switch
not about.
engaged.
Well, at this time, it was called the Unprettier. But yeah, again, weekly shows not about matches. They're about building storylines. Your thoughts on Christian versus DDP here, with Christian getting the win?
Hey, Christian finally got a win. Look at that. Look at that. Even though he didn't get an entrance.
He's on his own. He doesn't need an entrance.
At last, he's on his own.
And he doesn't need an entrance.
He even hit the kill switch. Engage.
Yeah. But at this point, it was called the Unprettier.
What a horrible fucking change of the name, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they called it. I don't know what they called it in TNA. They might have called it the Unprettier in TNA, but
I think they called it the TNA Slam or something. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what it was called.
But the freaking very PG kill switch.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's PG. Not the Unprettier,
Right.
God forbid.
They showed Triple H walking to the ring as they go to break, and now we have Triple H in ring. He's obviously got the belt on. He's got whichever shirt. I forgot the name of the shirt he was rocking at that time, but obviously you got to promote your shirts for the fans.
Yep.
Triple H says that on Raw, Ric Flair made a match of Triple H versus Undertaker for Backlash, but now Mr. McMahon says he has the right to make the match, so he makes it Triple H versus Hulk Hogan. Triple H says he can care less either way, but since it's Hogan, don't worry, Undertaker, and I know you're watching at home, as Triple H says. He assures Undertaker that he hasn't lost anything because once Triple H gets done with Hogan, he's coming for you, Undertaker. And Hulk Hogan comes out, and they point out, Taz does, that Hulk Hogan's in the red and yellow. And you can even see Triple H is watching as Hogan's coming to the ring. He's got a little smirk on his face, a little smile, smirkish smile. And he loves seeing Hogan, his childhood hero, as he pretty much says during this segment, coming to the ring back in the red and yellow. As Hogan says, as far as Hogan goes, he was just as surprised as Triple H was when McMahon made the match. He says he thought it couldn't get any bigger than WrestleMania 1 when he and Mr. T laid the Smackdown on
Paul Orndorff and
Paul Orndorff. That's who he said. He didn't. I don't think he said Piper. He said Paul Orndorff. And he then thought it couldn't get any bigger at WrestleMania 3 when he slammed Andre the Giant.
That smelly giant, brother.
And then he says he thought it couldn't get any bigger than WrestleMania 18, where he set a flaming table on fire and powerbombed Tro through it. What a moment.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
He says Hulkamania is back, but it doesn't get any bigger than the undisputed title. And for that, I give Hulk Hogan a round of applause, showing some love to the GOATed. And you can at me on that one. The GOATed belt. The undisputed title. And, well, since we're saying GOATed belt, it's the GOAT himself saying it doesn't get any bigger than that.
We got a random ass thing there.
Random ass what?
Comment.
No, that was me. You're seeing that was me. Yeah.
I thought we were hacked.
Yeah, no, that's promoting StreamYard. Yeah.
StreamYard.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite place to stream, it's StreamYard. It's so much better than Twitch and Skype and insert name of competitor to StreamYard.
He says if the Hogan does, he says if the fans believe in him and he does. Wait, hold on. If the fans believe in him and believes he deserves a title shot at Backlash, then he's going to take it. Triple H says Hogan is right when saying it doesn't get any bigger than the undisputed title. And he says it will be an honor to get in the ring with Hogan, but there's a little part of him that's sad. There's a little part of him that's sad because he's going to have to hurt someone he's looked up to his whole life. He's going to have to hurt him badly. He says he will not hesitate in that ring he will not hesitate to essentially hurt Hogan. He says, when you step into the ring with me, you're not immortal. You're not an icon. You're just an obstacle, and I will run you down. Oh, boy. He says that's not a threat. That's not a warning. It's a fact. Nothing will come between Triple H and his title. Not even the immortal Hulk Hogan, because he is the game. Triple H is, and he is that damn good. This was around the time he was always using that damn good line, and the fans.
I am that damn good.
The fans ate it up here. They said it along with him. Hogan says he may be right, but even when the experts say that Hulkamania is dead, it rises up. He says when Hulkamania rises up at Backlash, Triple H, what you gonna do? And that's the end of the segment as Hogan obviously rips the shirt off. He's in the red and yellow. He's got the things that he wore on his neck. Obviously the shirt was coming off. And that's how we end that segment. This was a great way to kick off the Triple H Hogan feud, especially since we're really not that far away from the pay-per-view. They don't have all that much time
Yeah.
to build this up, so it's a great way to start. Playing off the whole childhood thing, and I grew up idolizing you, and now I'm gonna have to destroy you.
It wasn't
Right?
true.
Yeah. Oh no, I know he was a big Flair guy, but yeah, that was all great. I enjoyed that segment. Tro, what did you think about the Triple H Hulk Hogan
He
segment?
also he also wouldn't have he also wouldn't have been growing up watching Hogan, because Hogan's prime
Right.
was late '90s, late '90s, late '80s, early
Late 80s.
'90s.
Yeah. This was
I'm pretty sure he was well into his wrestling training by then.
right. This was also the first time that we ever saw HHH and HHH together in the
Yeah.
ring, setting up their main event match for Backlash. But what did you think of this?
I like I like how Hogan was like, "Oh, I never thought it would be bigger than WrestleMania 1 or WrestleMania 3. What about WrestleMania 6 or
Yeah.
WrestleMania 18?"
Yeah, WrestleMania 6 was great, but this was obviously at a time where
They
Ultimate
weren't
Warrior
they weren't
was
on good terms with Warrior there.
right, and neither was Hogan. Not just WWE, Hogan wasn't either.
Hogan never on good was never good on good terms with anybody for long. Um, I'm surprised he was like, I thought it wouldn't have gotten bigger than the LA Memorial Coliseum against Sergeant Slaughter, brother. And Triple H would be like, that you had to move that match inside because no one took Slaughter versus you seriously, and ticket sales fucking sucked. No, brother, they moved in because of terrorism. That's why.
Now we have a Backlash preview, and obviously because this is a Backlash preview, we pretty much know. Did I miss something here? Hold on. I think I missed something. Where are we? Oh yes. Okay, I skipped over something. Okay, hold on. I skipped over the most memorable part on this whole show. One of
The
the
fucking
greatest,
did you pass over the thumbnail?
yes, one of the greatest
Oh
moments
god.
in SmackDown history. We have Kurt Angle backstage. He cannot believe, and this was right after DDP versus Christian. Kurt Angle's backstage. He cannot believe that Hogan is the number one contender. Edge comes over and he's like, we're feuding here, but I was going through my attic and looking through at some of the good old days when we used to be friends, and he shows Kurt Angle a bunch of pictures. Well, what Kurt Angle is seeing is the pictures. What we are seeing is the back of the picture, and the back of all these pictures have words on them. First picture says, "You suck," with an arrow pointing to Kurt Angle. Next picture says, "Yes, I do suck." Arrow once again pointing to Kurt Angle. Um, Next picture says, "And I'm a dork." Yeah, Angle arrow once again pointing to Kurt. And then it says, "It's true." And then the final picture says, "P.S. I have no testicles," and it's pointing
Yeah.
down to Kurt Angle.
You're forgetting about the other picture that Kurt had. It said subscribe and ring the bell for FCT.
There you go. That one he didn't get too upset about because he
No,
actually
no.
he subscribed right away. He actually was
Yeah.
like, thank you, Christian. I'm very happy that you put me on to the best wrestling YouTube channel on
Well,
YouTube.
it was Edge, but
Well, who did I say?
Christian.
Oh, Christian. Well, I meant Edge.
Oh,
Whatever.
you're just like Grandma Edna. You're getting them mixed up.
So before I think it would be before the "It's True" one, Edge walks out of the picture.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle's all happy, and after the last picture, he looks back to see what it's and sees what it says. He then starts looking through all the other pictures, and he is extremely upset. So after that was Triple H's in ring with Hogan. This was one of the greatest SmackDown segments of all time. Talking about Kurt Angle here.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle and Edge. That was hilarious. I have memories. See, now I wasn't a fan yet, but I remember sometime in 2002, and I'm pretty sure I still wasn't a fan yet when this aired, but sometime in 2002, I guess it was UPN. UPN was doing like outtakes of their television shows, and they actually were showing outtakes of this segment. So that was kind of cool. I have no idea what show that was. I have no idea how to find it. I really wish I did. But yeah, I remember watching it. I think it was like in the summer of 2002 that it aired. Wish I could say I know how to find it, but I don't. Your thoughts on this epic segment between Kurt Angle and
I thought it was good. It was a good little segment.
great
Funny,
comedy. Yeah,
very
great
funny. Yeah.
comedy. Thoughts on Triple H and
Starts the "You Suck" chant,
the You Suck chant had already started though. They've
but
been chanting it the past couple of
it
weeks.
rejuvenizes it. It makes it like officially part of the character.
Yeah. Thoughts on Triple H and Hulk Hogan's in ring?
I did.
Yep. Okay. So now we move on. Kurt Angle taking on Edge. This would be after the Hulk Hogan and Triple H in ring. Uh, this obviously is just building towards Backlash, so there's not much to be expected in terms of a match. But we have good build-up. There was a lot of really good build-up for Kurt Angle versus Edge. We got it with that segment, and now we get it in the match where Kurt Angle gets himself disqualified as Edge was going for the spear. Kurt Angle's got a chair. He puts the chair in the way. Edge spears the chair. There's your DQ. They brawl a little bit after that. Angle is carried away by security. That's the end of that. And now, your thoughts on Edge
It
versus
was
Kurt?
it was good to see some intensity from Kurt
Yeah,
because he was big on comedy during this whole show, so it was like the intensity was
right,
nice.
right. And now we have Tori Wilson looking absolutely fantastic. She still looks amazing to this day. She actually posted a picture yesterday on her social media. She just looks amazing to this very day. But anyway, she's backstage here. I guess she's putting her makeup on when Billy Kidman walks over and says that tonight he has a cruiserweight title shot against Tajiri. And while Tori is in Tajiri's corner, Kidman says he's going to go out there and beat Tajiri. While they've had their past, he's talking again about him and Tori in WCW. He just wants to wish Tori and Tajiri nothing but luck. Tori's like, oh, she hugs Kidman, and that's when Tajiri walks into the picture, catches them hugging, and he was not pleased at all about this. Tajiri asks Tori for a kiss for good luck. She kissed him. He says more luck, and she kisses him again. Bit of good comedy here. And obviously this is building up to where Tajiri and Tori Wilson break up. Tajiri getting a little jealous there and is demanding that Tori kiss her. So, good heel work there from Tajiri. What do you think of this segment here?
Continuity with WCW. Oh my god!
Now we have cruiserweight title, as Billy Kidman said. He's got a cruiserweight title match against Tajiri. It is Tajiri taking on Billy Kidman, and Kidman ends up winning this match because at one point Tajiri goes for the belt, comes back in the ring. He lays the belt in the corner, comes back in the ring. Tori ends up picking the belt up, and at one point after a tarantula, Tajiri walks back over to the corner, doesn't see the belt. He then notices that Tori Wilson has it. Before he can do anything about that, Kidman rolls him up, gets the pinfall victory. He is your new cruiserweight champion. Tajiri berates Tori Wilson after the match. I was a bit surprised here because I didn't even realize Billy Kidman became cruiserweight champion. I've always been under the assumption that Tajiri was the champ going into Backlash. They face each other. This is another Backlash preview, essentially. Uh, I guess Kidman was the champ. We'll see. Maybe he drops the title before Backlash, but we'll see. Kidman obviously wins the title again, I think, at Survivor or something. That's where I remember him being cruiserweight champ. But
Yeah.
I guess he's cruiserweight champ here. Good match. This was actually the one good match on.
Well,
Well,
doesn't Jamie Noble win? Oh, was Jamie
yeah,
Noble next year?
yeah. No. Jamie Noble wins it in the summertime, and that's who
Yeah.
Kidman beats at Survivor.
Yeah.
Uh, this was the first like good match on the show. I gave this 2.5 stars. I enjoyed again Tajiri being a heel. They're building up to the breakup of Tajiri and Tori Wilson. So obviously he berates Tori Wilson, even though Tori really didn't do anything wrong. It's like she essentially tried to keep Tajiri from cheating. But your thoughts on Billy Kidman taking on Tajiri and we crown a new cruiserweight champion?
I thought it was fun. Uh, this is pre-shooting star press being a
Oh,
horrible thing for Kidman.
oh yeah. But he does hit the or he tries to.
Yeah,
But
this is before it became you're
yeah,
killing people, Billy.
that
No,
would
I'm
be
not.
that would be 2 years later.
Yeah,
All right.
you know who took an issue with Billy Kidman's with shooting star presses was AJ Styles.
Oh yeah. Why is that?
Apparently, Billy Kidman did not like that AJ Styles was doing shooting star presses. So in TNA, AJ whatever he'd do one, just named it like something different.
Oh, interesting. Uh, Mr. McMahon backstage. He says he's okay with Kidman winning the cruiserweight title, but the one title change that sticks in his craw is that damn no good Maven. That damn no good. Mr. McMahon hates YouTubers. That damn no good Maven.
Hey guys, Maven here. Here's why Vince McMahon hates me.
He says he drafted Maven because he was the hardcore champion, not because he was the tough enough one winner. That's when we cut to, well, first of all, he says somebody off camera. He's still sitting on the couch, by the way. He says somebody off camera that tonight he wants him to teach Maven a lesson. And that is when it cuts to Hardcore Holly. He actually says, Bob Holly, I want you to teach Maven a lesson. And that is when they cut to Hardcore Holly. A lesson he'll never forget. Holly says to McMahon, as well as, oh no, as far as McMahon knows, or no, McMahon knows as well as I do. Yeah, he says, you know as well as I do that if I was a trainer at Tough Enough, Maven wouldn't have made it a single day. That's when McMahon says, or he wouldn't have lasted a single day. That is when McMahon says to make sure Maven doesn't even last through this day. And Holly exits there. So we have another match on later tonight. Maven versus Hardcore Holly. But this segment gets tremendous here because Stacy Keibler, oh my goodness, Stacy Keibler walks in. She offers her
Boo.
services. Okay, that's it. You're gone. You're gone. We put him through a flaming table, and he is now banned. But we still got a show to do, so. Stacy comes in, offers her services to Mr. McMahon as an executive assistant. Stacy then had to bring up, I thought we were going to no longer hear this, but Stacy brings up what Mr. McMahon said on the last show, the Raw from last Monday. She brings up how Mr. McMahon said it was his intellectual sperm that created
Ugh.
what is known today as sports entertainment. Stacey says that she loves the way Mr. McMahon talks. Mr. McMahon says, well, not for nothing, I love the way you walk. He tells her to have a seat. They both sit down on this couch that Mr. McMahon has been sitting on all day, and we just saw Hardcore Holly sitting on the couch. Now Stacy is sitting on the couch with Mr. McMahon. They cut to break. We come straight back into Mr. McMahon's office after the break. Mr. McMahon is sitting on the couch, but he's not sitting there with Stacy anymore. Then there is a knock on the door. Mr. McMahon believes that it's Stacy Keibler. He's like, "Come in, you don't have to knock." Turns out it's Devon Dudley. Devon Dudley asks Vince, "Who the hell do you think you are, splitting up the Dudleys just because just because of you and Flair's games?" He says the Dudleys have fought their whole lives fighting, trying to get into the WWE, and it's all taken away just because of you and Ric Flair arguing. Mr. McMahon says he wanted the Dudleys, but Flair found that out. And that is why Flair split up the Dudleys. He took Bubba Ray first, so Mr. McMahon had no choice but to take Devon, who he believes is the better brother, which he is now starting to wonder if he really is. Uh, he also says that Devon's ready to take the next step, but he tells Devon to get the hell out of his office until Devon finds out who he is. And he says that he has a lot of hopes for Devon, but he needs to find out who he is, and he needs to find something that will fit him into sports entertainment. Good little segments here with Mr. McMahon, with Stacy and Hardcore Holly, and now Devon. The Devon one was better. We're obviously getting this. This is planting the seeds here to Reverend Devon. And Devon obviously showed a lot of emotion getting in Mr. McMahon's face because of Mr. McMahon and Flair essentially splitting up the Dudleys. So I enjoyed both of these. If I had to pick the better one, it's obviously the one with Devon. Although, again, the one prior to that gets a 10 out of 10 because Stacy was in it. But your thoughts on both of the McMahon segments here?
I thought it was good. This is the last time that we see Devon as a face. Next time we see him, I think he's a reverend.
And he did say testify, but he was he did say that at one point in the segment, but he had always been saying that long before they even came up.
Will you be donating money to his building foundation?
Oh, that's a legendary Smackdown Shut Your Mouth story mode part where he, if you run into him backstage, he will always ask you to donate. So, Tro, I know you donated a few times just so he wouldn't put you through a flaming table.
Of course. Have you donated?
I donated a couple times, and I'm still waiting to see this new building. Go ahead.
I heard the Dodgers donated a lot, but it's all been deferred. So eventually, in a couple of years from now, the Devon will have enough money coming to him from the Dodgers.
Every team does deferred money, bro. That's been going on for years.
But no one does it like the Dodgers.
Now we have Maven.
I thought the Mets were the only ones to do it, by the way.
The Mets are. Now we have Maven and Al Snow backstage. Snow says a year ago Maven was a school teacher, and now he's a 3-time hardcore champion. He's even gotten to wrestle Chris Jericho for the WWE title. He says a year ago Maven would have had to walk to the worst part of town, find some stranger. You would have find some stranger in the worst part of town to get the ass whooping he's about to get tonight. He says Maven needs to remember that God is always with him because he's going to need him tonight. A bit of a funny segment here. Al Snow essentially like, hey, a year ago you were a school teacher. Now you're a pro wrestler. But guess what? Tonight you're going to get the worst ass whooping you've ever received. A bit of a funny segment there. Maven versus Hardcore Holly. Hardcore Holly gets the win with the slam. And I believe this is the match where Maven actually injures Hardcore Holly. Maven talked about this on his channel. So if you want to learn more about that, just watch Maven's video. The match itself, 1 star. Holly wins with the Alabama Slam. Not much else to talk about. Your thoughts on Maven and Al Snow backstage, as well as Maven versus Hardcore Holly?
I thought it was good. It was a fun little quick match of Maven getting his ass kicked, basically.
Yeah. And the segment prior.
Hey guys, I used to be a school teacher a year ago, and now I'm here with Al Snow about to get my ass fucking kicked.
And now we cut to a recap of Jericho and Rock's backstage segment. So we hear Jericho say that he beat Rock at Judgment Day for the second time, which is again not true. He beat Rock at Vengeance, but we recap that segment so we get all that again. Now we see Rock backstage walking to the ring, getting ready for your main event. And what a main event it was. Rock taking on Chris Jericho, and I guess in Chris Jericho's mind, this was Judgment Day. This wasn't SmackDown. This was just Judgment Day. It's Rock and Jericho. A lot of interference. Well, not a lot of interference, but there were, I'll say, a lot of run-ins in this match because Angle runs in to actually interfere in the match. He gets to the after he interferes, he comes in to the outside, and that's when Edge runs in. He's obviously running in not to interfere in the match. He wants to get his hands on his Backlash opponent, Kurt Angle. They brawl they they go over the guardrail and brawl into the crowd. And shortly after that, Rock hits the rock bottom, gets the win. Again, Rock match. Obviously, the crowd's going to be into it, especially with Jericho being the great heel that he is. This was a fun match. I gave it 4.5 stars. Your thoughts on Rock taking on Jericho?
A very good Judgment Day main event here. Just a random road to Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Judgment Day 04, obviously.
Well, that's funny enough. That is our next road to it. It's Judgment Day 04.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, every show leading up to it might be Judgment Day if Rock ends up facing Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Neither of them are SmackDown in 2004. So
that's the problem. Well, at this point, Rock ain't even with the company anymore. He's just making random appearances. And that summer, he made one final random appearance and was never seen again until 2011. So I shouldn't say he's not with the company. At this point, he is technically contracted to them, but he's not appearing on Raw every week. And again,
because he wrestled that WrestleMania 20 match and then a few more segments.
And then we saw him again in August during a Divas
pie eating contest.
Yeah, but it was the pie eating contest was a part of the Diva Search. Search. That's where a Diva Search segment, and he was never seen again until 2011 when he returned. I think a week before Elimination Chamber, right?
Probably.
Yeah, because I remember the segment, and back then they used to have the pay-per-view like on the stage.
Yeah,
it would say this pay-per-view in this many days or this many weeks, and I remember it saying like Elimination Chamber this Sunday. So
thank God we're never covering fucking 2011, 2012, 2013 Rock. Oof.
Well, we definitely won't be covering
dark era.
We won't be covering those, but I will say 2011, 2012, in terms of all the years of WWE that I haven't enjoyed, which is like 06 to now. 11 and 12 were probably my favorite of that whole time period.
Yeah, but that wasn't a good version of the Rock. That was the Rock coasting on his coattails trying to be PG.
I thought Rock was fine.
Kung Pao bitch, free bedrooms.
Right, yeah, some of the stuff he said.
And whenever he was out mic'd by somebody on a promo like CM Punk, he just didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
He was like, he panicked. He was like, because Punk's like, your arms are just too short to box with God. And Rock's like, You look funny. Rocky, 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 Rocky.
Oh yeah, Rock did definitely said some stupid shit back then, like the
You are a
fruity.
Kung Pao bitch.
Yeah, Kung Pao bitch. I know. Yeah, some of that was weird, but overall rating out of 10 for this show, I give this show a perfect 10 out of 10. Again, weekly shows are not about matches. We didn't get that much outside of the main event. And like I said, the Cruiserweight title was decent itself too. But outside of the main event, we really didn't have that much in terms of matches. The whole like first hour of the show was mostly segments, but they were really good segments. And weekly shows are about building towards the pay-per-view. I really enjoy the show. We have one of the most memorable SmackDown segments with Edge and Kurt Angle. Uh, Perfect 10 out of 10. I guess what does Harvey give it? Because he's trying to.
What are you rating it?
Huh?
She says the 9 out of 10.
She said meow. And so Harvey gives it a meow rating.
She gives it a meow out of 10.
Meow out of 10. And Tro, what are your thoughts on the April 4th? Well, not thoughts, but rating out of 10 for the April 4th, 2002 Judgment Day.
I thought it was good. It was fine.
Overall, though, 10 out of 10. I mean,
I give it a 9 out of 10.
okay. So we are both in agreement that the show was tremendous, but we almost never. We did once, like that first show in the Road to Unforgiven '01. We both were in agreement that it was a 10 out of 10. I think that's the only time we've ever
Yeah.
had the same rating. So we never agree on the same rating, but we almost always agree whether the show is good or not, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So oh boy. Yeah, we have a Islander monthly recap
Yay.
in about a couple of days really. What, about a week?
Next Friday.
Yeah, what a horrible.
We're gonna have to figure something out because I still have to figure out like how the time zones work.
Well, remember, if it's too much of an issue when you're in Vegas, remember we have all off season because now we know they're damn sure not making the play. We have
Yeah, but
all.
we just want to get it out of the way quickly.
Oh, I agree, but we
So
don't. If we don't get it out of the way that quickly, we don't have to. Like we could wait till you leave Vegas and get
I
home.
get I get into Vegas at 5:30 that time, so I think they're like 3 hours
Right.
we're 3 hours ahead of them. So that's like probably like maybe eight something this time. So then I don't know,
What?
maybe 10 Eastern.
Yeah, we'll see. Um,
Because
if you're
I
in
do want
Vegas,
to do a little gambling for it, obviously.
you don't LARP in Vegas, right? So Saturday
Uh,
is a possibility, right?
Saturday's WrestleMania, motherfucker.
Oh, but morning.
I don't know because I don't know how the times. I don't know what time I have to get to the fucking arena anymore because I think the show
Oh,
like starts 4 o'clock Pacific time, and I don't know what that. I'm trying to get to WWE. I'm trying to get to the World, Frank. The World that you didn't go to.
yeah. The
WWE.
world doesn't exist.
No, that's what they call it now. They call it WWE WrestleMania Access, and now just WWE World.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So Saturday's still out of the question. Okay. Um,
Saturday is still out of it.
yeah.
Maybe Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll probably have a better idea on what time zone wise what I have to do on that Sunday. So
Right. Obviously,
unless I hit it big.
at the end of April, we will have what is currently looking like it's going to be a much more happier monthly recap when we recap the Mets and the. I should say the what Mets? Tro, what Mets am I talking about?
The 6 wins in a row wins.
6 wins in a row, but that's not what I'm getting at. The what Mets?
The first place wins.
There you go. And I don't care how early it is in the season. Last year, this team buried any chance they had at winning the division last year by starting out horribly. And obviously, with April and May, because Philly had just decided that their best run last season was going to be April and May. So the Mets buried any chance that they had a winning division, and they still made up 11 games and still finished 6 games behind. So the fact that they are in first place right now, I'm very happy about. This is especially the first time literally in 2 calendar years that we can say the Mets are in first place. It doesn't feel like it because
Sole
last
position.
year, yeah, sole position. It doesn't feel like it because last year was so damn good, second half wise, into the playoffs. They felt like a first place team last year, and for all intents and purposes, if they would have played like that all year, they would have been a first place team. Again, they made up 11 games on Philly, finished the regular season 6 games behind them, and in the end, when you count when you count postseason, they win wise tied Philly. So it's frustrating. That's the only thing about 2024, except for the fact that they obviously didn't go all the way and finish the job. But the most frustrating part was they easily had a chance to win this division with how they played in the second half. If they would have just been 500 in the first half, they may have legitimately had a shot at winning this division. 17 games back in June, and they still finished 6 back, which is amazing. But that's what I'm saying. Again, I don't care if it's April 9th, June 9th, December 9th. Well, December, obviously, there's no baseball in December. But I don't care what the day is. I'm very happy that the Mets are in first place. Now let's build on it because it's only a half game.
Yep.
It's only a half game. Let's build on it.
We also have the first round of the NFL draft. Well,
yes,
probably stream and watch my my overreaction to whatever decision the Giants make.
I still gotta say, I still say you guys should go with a quarterback, but I think if you guys take Trav Hunter, I don't think that'd be a bad pickup. That dude is a
I don't think he'll
beast
be available.
at 3. I mean,
Maybe.
are the top 2 teams not going to take a quarterback?
They will.
Well, there you go. He will be available at 3.
Well, Cam Ward apparently freaking Shador Sanders has fallen to 9.
They got Shador Sanders falling to 9 now.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be
It's
literally.
it's almost as if he was an overrated quarterback because his father was freaking the head coach of the team.
That would literally be 1 pick before us. Obviously, we're not taking a quarterback, but
You sure? You sure you don't want Shador?
we're not. If we had no quarterback, I would, but we
Oh,
have
you
a
guys can
quarterback.
take Shador.
We don't need him.
Oh, so you're a racist organization, is what you're saying.
We don't want a black quarterback because we already have a black quarterback.
No,
Therefore,
nope.
we are a
He's not
racist.
black enough, Frank. Not black enough. I'm sorry, Frank. The Bears are. There's a new Rudy rule. It's actually called the I don't know. They're making a new rule. You have to have at least one black quarterback, and that black quarterback has to start at least 2 games per season. If you don't, then you're banned from the NFL. They take away one of your Super Bowl wins, and unfortunately, in the Bears' case, you only have 1. So,
9-time NFL champions.
well, see, that's what they're going to start to do. Every year that you don't have a black quarterback, they're going to start taking away championships. And after 2 seasons,
Beautiful. Doesn't that look beautiful?
yes.
Right?
After 2 seasons, you'll have less championships than the Giants.
How many championships do you guys have?
I believe we have either 7 or 8.
Okay. Well, nobody can take away any championship, so that's not going to happen. So, not worried about that.
Let's just say now.
You're never going to catch us. So, yeah.
It doesn't matter because we're better in the Super Bowl era.
Well, we're gonna start winning some damn Super Bowls with
You and your little
Caleb.
fairy tales.
It's not a fairy tale. It's gonna become true.
Not when Jalen Love or whatever the hell his name is for the Packers.
Jordan Love. You think we're really scared of him? Did you see? You think we're really scared of Jordan Love?
Yeah. Funny thing. I believe Bear fans said the same exact thing after Aaron Rodgers' first few seasons. You think we're really scared of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
No, look at how
Jordan
that
Love.
turned out.
It is now very safe to say Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Brett Favre. He damn sure ain't no Caleb Williams.
April 9th, 2025. Jordan Love is no Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre.
And by the way,
So Packers, when you use this footage for your championship video and his Hall of Fame induction, just remember it was him who said it.
and by the way, SNY, my goodness. Every time somebody's at the ballpark with a freaking Packer hat on or a freaking Packer jacket, they need to put the freaking camera on them. SNY, y'all need to stop that. First of all, anybody who comes to Citi Field with a Packer jacket or a Packer hat needs to be thrown out of the freaking stadium. But yeah,
Why don't you do it?
SNY needs to start putting the camera on some Bear fans that come to Citi Field with a Met jersey on and a Bear hat or a Mets hat.
Now why would anybody have a Bears jersey on or a Bears hat? That'd be silly.
Ask me that again in February. I'll tell you why.
That'd be silly because you see, people actually like the Packers, and Packers have a good history, unlike the Bears who.
Oh yeah,
won a Super Bowl once upon a time in the 80s.
We have a really bad history having just second most championships in the history of the NFL.
I mean, you guys have also been around for 100 years, so it's kind of like the Montreal Canadiens and the Yankees. Like, if you haven't had a lot of success in those hundreds of years, that'd be kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, you still can't take that away. Somebody can take that away by winning more, but that's just not going to happen. Well, pretty soon with Caleb, we're going to be number one in a couple of years. Oh yes, Caleb's gonna win us a couple, and we'll jump over Green Bay for most NFL titles in the league's history. But
100 years, only one Super Bowl win. Couldn't be us.
9-time NFL champ, second most.
Yeah, if those don't count though. So.
Oh yes, it does. Oh yes, it does.
Maybe in Soldier Field they do.
It happened. It counts.
They're just like that Wilt Chamberlain game. There's no footage of them, so therefore they don't count.
Nope, it counts. Any more thoughts? Any final thoughts on the April 4th, 2002 edition of Judgment Day?
It was a hell of a Judgment Day.
And if we have 2 viewers at the moment, if there are anybody wondering why the hell we're calling this show Judgment Day, there's a segment earlier on in the show where Rock lists all the pay-per-views he beat Rock, where Jericho lists all the pay-per-views.
The Rock says, I beat myself here, I beat myself there, I beat myself in the locker room.
Jericho lists all the pay-per-views he beat Rock in because their feud had literally just taken place only a few months ago. He says, I beat you at No Mercy. I beat you at Judgment Day. I beat you at Royal Rumble. He was gonna say I beat you at Royal Rumble for Rock interrupted him. The only problem is Rock and Jericho had never faced each other at Judgment Day. What he meant to say was vengeance. He said Judgment Day. And the main event of this show was Rock Jericho. So since Rock faced Jericho, this must have been a Judgment Day. So this was Judgment Day, April 4th, 2002. Yes. So any final thoughts on Judgment Day, April 4th? Okay. We will see you again maybe tomorrow. We'll do that. The April 8th, 2002 Raw as we continue the road to Backlash. Again, after the road to Backlash, once we get to Backlash 02, we will be doing the road to Judgment Day 2004. So be on the lookout for all those great reviews. Thank you to anybody who has watched. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.